Lee Pitts Live here at the Mount Hermon Ministries virtual symposium on racism in her voice. It is a historic event. Big shout out to Jackie Williams of Jackie's Photos, event photos, and the community press who's here covering this from end to end. We wouldn't be able to do it without our fine community press. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts, the host of Lee Pitts Live, and you don't see any notes in my hand. You rarely do because I kind of know everybody. I'll give them a chance to introduce themselves as we prepare for the upcoming symposium. Ladies, welcome to Lee Pitts Live.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Both of you have been on the show at some point in time. The reason I say that is because I've interviewed so many people.
Yeah.
I don't know everybody I've interviewed. I never thought I'd get to that point, but about 8 years into doing the television show, I started running into people who would say they had been on my show and like, you don't remember me, you don't remember me. And then, but when they tell me what the topic was, I'll say, well, what was the topic when you were on the show? They might say, I was on there about healthy eating. Then I said, I remember that topic. So I know topics because so many faces come across. Now that Tashika Perry is there, I can take a break and she can deal with trying to remember everybody. Let's go with both of you. Get your name and where you're from in terms of what you do in the community. Let's start over there with you, First Lady Ford.
My name is Marjorie Ford. I assist my husband here, First Assembly Cornerstone, right here in the Dunbar area. I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a mentor, I'm all that.
Is it fair to call you a community activist as well?
Oh, absolutely.
And
yes, sir.
And I understand, I think I saw you singing before. You got a great voice. I'm not going to put you on the spot to sing.
Yeah, you did that before.
Did I put you on the spot when you were on the show? You gave me a little acapella?
Yes.
I'm thinking about it right now.
No, don't do it.
All right. If we weren't rushing on time, I would get me a little acapella. Never turn down the opportunity to sing on television. Okay, remember that.
Okay.
I got that from Don Cornelius of Soul Train.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of his. I heard him say that in his book. Let's go over here. Your full name.
Cotrenia Hood.
Mm-hmm.
I am the CEO of Steel Blue, which is a consulting firm. I consult small businesses, and I do executive coaching as well.
Okay, so go ahead and plug how people can get in touch with you for that. Sounds like some good stuff.
Yeah, so my company's name is Steel Blue again. It's blue in French, so STEELBLEU.com is my company name. You can find me on social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media platforms as well under the same name,
So
Steel Blue.
you get small businesses what? You get them up and running, give them ideas on how to survive and things like that?
Yeah, so I focus on growth and development. So I do startup businesses as well, but mainly I work with organizations that are already existing and they're looking to franchise, to expand, to roll out a new product or services. I'm extremely passionate about helping women in business. It's probably one of my favorite things to do.
Did you give a website or you gave a phone?
I did. I gave a website.
Give the worship hours for your church, website, anything like that before we get rolling.
Well, right now we're just at 9 o'clock service, virtual due to the pandemic. And we have Wednesday night Bible study.
Okay.
www.firstassemblycornerstone.com.
All right. What do you hope that people would take away, starting with you, First Lady Ford? What do you hope that people would take away from experiencing this symposium on television as it relates to racism in her voice?
Well, I had a kind of struggle with it, about the topic, because I know we have to deal talking about racism, but I really want them to get a sense of knowing who they are in Christ Jesus. So that's my main thing, like finding who they are in Christ Jesus, knowing that he is there for us, whatever we acquire or whatever we go through, knowing that he's our rock. I'm just so passionate about that. I think it's because my time in my life, my age bracket. So, I had a kind of struggle with that.
Do you think that black females in particular have a certain intuition, wise beyond the average male, about things that are going on in society that we may not see?
Absolutely.
Yep. Go ahead, speak to that. Absolutely.
I think it's something, that we acquired, something that God gave us automatic, and I think we see beyond we're kind of like Jesus. We see beyond the human eye. We know what's going on other than what other people are, what you say, men. Because sometimes we have the heart. We can feel that, what's really going on, and they become attached to us and compassionate to us. So I feel that, we have more of a connection because we give life, we birth things. You know what I mean?
You have one son and a daughter, if I recall.
Oh, I got two sons and one girl.
Right.
Right.
You've had that talk with them about society and what they may experience out there, law enforcement, that kind of thing. Racism.
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
Coming up, I think I really shielded my kids.
Right.
So they knew about it. We talked about it, but not like really like in detail. Probably now,
Right.
more than I did when I was younger. I'm really like plugging it now.
Right. I haven't had. I'm feeling like I need to start having that conversation. I just figured it'll happen along the way one day, but now it's time. I see you shaking your head on that. Go ahead and expound on that as it relates.
So I did. I've had that conversation with my children. I have two. One is 23 in college, and then another that is 12. And I probably had more conversation with my older child because he's a boy, and because I felt like he was going out into society doing big things, and I wanted him to be aware of his surroundings before he got there. Mm-hmm. So we started that conversation probably when he was closer to when he was in middle school, but really focusing in on it once he started to drive, because I kept thinking about, what if he's pulled over by the police? I want him to know what his rights are. I want him to know how to behave and what to do in those situations. So we started that conversation with him. Now, in reverse, this whole thing has opened up a whole new dialogue with my middle school girl. It came before we were ready to have these in-depth conversations, but it was necessary. And I feel like for them, it happening now and causing us to have these conversations is also causing us to have some internal dialogue as well.
Now, you a member of Mount Hermon Ministry,
I am.
and you work. I mean, I see you working. Saw you put on the 20th anniversary, I think it was, and everything. You're actually hard working. When your church is taking the lead on things like this, putting educational materials out there, having people have a chance to express themselves, how does that make you feel?
So I live in Naples, and I commute here to church. Wow. I commute here to church, and have been doing it since we moved here 13 years ago for that reason, because I believe in what Mount Hermon does, because I believe in what they do, under Pastor Glover's leadership, when it comes to the daycare, to community activism, to being a voice for this community, whether it's through our community day or anything that we're putting on in this church. We take in consideration every single time, how is this affecting our community? How can we better serve our community? How can we redeem our community?
What do you hope that people take from today's experience of watching this symposium?
I hope that they hear the voice of African American women and our struggle. I hope that they hear our heart. I hope that this sparks some dialogue that will push us further in this conversation around racism. And I hope that we as sisters will find a way that we can link arms and work together to really improve our community.
First Lady Ford, First Assembly cornerstone in the heart of the African American community, has always been out in the forefront, evangelizing, being a part of the community, active. Tell us about your husband as the leader of the church, and you guys' thoughts in terms of talking about racism.
Well, like I'm sure everyone know my husband, Pastor Ford. I think it's a awesome opportunity. I think for me and with my husband, he wasn't like the one talked about it, but this right here has really pushed him beyond.
I see.
With him linking up with Pastor Glover, and Pastor Glover doing the symposium, and they was all at First Assembly. So I think it's really like us to really stand up for us as a black people, because I think a lot of people look, because we're in church and go to church, we supposed to be silent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now it's time for our voice to be
And I
heard.
think the congregation appreciates you speaking out because they're
Yeah.
like, hey, why aren't we saying something?
Right.
But another thing, that whole thing about unity, you mentioned your husband, Pastor Ford, Greg, and Dr. Glover working together. In
Right.
unity, there's strength when people are working together. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I just want to say this. Fort Myers probably don't know that, but Pastor Glover is one of the. He's not my pastor, but we grew up together. He's like my pastor.
Really?
Because I go to school here, and the school is awesome. I love it. Being taught by him and his wife, it's a great thing, and I think Pastor Glover is a tool to this community. If we just come together and link up, like as brothers and sisters, and get the job done, I believe that he's the man for the job.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I saw you in a cap and gown. You graduated from something here, right? What was that?
I graduated from theological school.
Okay.
I was salutatorian.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's time to do some photos and a lot of other things. Let me have you to just make some final comments, and we'll wrap it up.
Well, I just want to thank First Lady Glover for putting on this symposium. It is amazing that she's brought together some very powerful women. I want to thank you, Lee, for showcasing this opportunity for us to just speak to our community, and I'm looking forward to today.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, the symposium is about to get started. Photos are going to be taken. Again, big shout out to the community press who's here covering this as well. And shout out to all the ladies who are here. If I'm here when it's over, I'll get a chance to talk to anybody that I missed. This is Lee Pitts Live. For those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those who are doing it. It's the virtual symposium on racism, in her words, right here at Mount Hermon Ministries. We'll see you.